Hi guys, I'm Jim and this is Jim's Fix-It Shop, and I got to finish up this snapper because I want to start using it in the yard. Show you what I finished doing underneath and what point I'm at right now. So let me move the camera and we'll get on it. Okay, first what I want to do is take yourself a clamp, or you can use a rope, whatever. Pull the clutch pedal in. And I put this clamp on here to hold the clutch pedal down so you can shift it. Now let's go back down below. Okay, I got my differential and my chain case filled with 80-90 gear lube. That's what I use. I filled it up night before last. I set it down the way it belongs. I just stood it up. I got a puddle of oil on the floor. So I retightened all these screws. And they were a little loose. But the cork gasket is going to compress. So you may have to keep snugging them up for a while to get it to stop. Then just fill it back up with grease again. Now, the reason I got the clutch pedal clamped is so I can take the shifter and shift this back and forth. The reason I do that is I want to shove it all the way over into reverse. I want to take this clamp off. Let me vibrate you around over here. I want to take this clamp off, pull this boot back, and that hex shaft that's in here, I coated with grease. Because grease will stay there. Oil is just going to run off. WD-40 is going to evaporate. You want to put some heavy grease on that. That'll make it shift nice. Then shift it all the way up here in the fifth. Take this one off, slide it out of the way, grease this part of the shaft good. And while you're at it, you can grease this grease fitting that greases this bushing on the side of your fender. This bushing on this side is lubricated from the oil in the differential. Now I'm still having some people contact me and tell me, oh man, my clutch is slipping. Well, there's a couple things you want to look for. Back in here, let me turn this thing again. Back in here is a spring. I don't know if you can see it, but when you tip it up, you'll find it. This particular model has 3 holes in the top for the spring to hook into, and it has 2 in the bottom. Now you can tighten that up. That will pull in your clutch disc tighter into your aluminum drive disc. That should stop it from slipping. If you don't have a problem with your yoke. This is an old yoke. I didn't use this one because it's wore out. This is where the spring hooks into. Here's the 2 holes. Now this is your chain case with your clutch on it. And this little piece of pipe here rides in this groove on the yoke. This is reverse over here. This is fifth over here. Now this pivots on these 2 screws. This pivots like this, and that's what pulls your clutch disc into your drive disc. Now this is something you want to look for. If your machine is slipping and you put a new clutch on it, this is probably what's wrong. And get this up here. See this dip right here? That's where, from this being in there and you're driving around your yard and this thing is vibrating because that's spring loaded, so this thing's going to vibrate a little. That has worn that down that much. Well, that's a lot for the adjustment on that spring. That's going to make it slip. Now, I had one of my viewers contact me and say that somebody told me I had to bag in second gear. And his was extremely wore, right about in here. That would probably be second or third. And he said he got a new clutch, and he bought a new one of these, and he put it in. I don't think he got back to me yet on how it made a difference. But if this is worn, you're going to want to replace that. Now remember, I tore two machines apart. This one was in real good shape. So I used this one, and I kicked this one out. That's going to cause your clutch to slip a lot. So you want to look for that. So I got my grease in here, and in the chain case I got that hex shaft greased. That's ready to go. So now there's a grease fitting here. Let me move this. This is the spring and shaft on your shifter. You want to grease that. Otherwise that's going to lock up on you and you're going to have problems shifting. Okay, let me tip this thing down. Okay, we've got it on the floor and we're going to hook the battery up. Now when you hook up a battery in anything, a car, motorcycle, never hook the ground first. Always hook the hot wire first. And I'll tell you why. You're going to put this thing on here. Stick that bolt through there. Put the nut on. Now you're going to tighten this up. Now if you're touching this contact, which is the positive side, and you hit the frame, you're going to arc this out, and this wrench is going to become very hot very quick. But if you don't have the ground hooked up, the circuit's not completed and you won't have a problem. So you can tighten this up. You don't have to worry about shortening it out. Now hook the ground up. Put the ground wires on. Now when you're doing the ground, if you slip, you got the wire on your wrench on here and you hit the frame, it's not going to spark because it's already grounded. This is the ground side. So remember, always do your hot wire first, your ground last when you're putting it on. When you're taking it off, take the ground off first because it won't hurt if you touch anything. Take your hot side off last. You won't have a problem. Let me move this camera. Okay, now if you remember, I got rid of that stupid little button back here you push. And I wired it like your truck. You hit the key, it starts up. Now, I put a solenoid in here. Did I do it right? Let's find out. Hey, that works nice. The headlight is hooked up. I've got an auxiliary switch on it. So if it's during the day, I don't need to run it. But we'll turn it on. We'll turn on the key. The light works. This is great. I can't wait to get this baby out. Because I don't know about you guys or where you're located in the country. I've already got leaves down. I took my old snapper out the last 2 nights and was doing leaves. Last night we had a little issue. I wish I would have had the camera going. Something happened to my carburetor. I either got a piece of dirt in the needle valve on the float, or the float stuck. I got it out to use it, and I was going to put gas in it. I took the cap off, and it's empty. Well, I used it a couple of weeks ago, and I know I had a half tank of gas. So I filled the gas tank up, and religiously, I always check the oil in every machine I have, push lawnmowers, my big Ingersoll garden tractor, this thing, every time I take it out, I don't care if I used it 5 hours ago. When I push it out to use it, I'm going to check the oil again. Well, I checked the oil. The oil was full all the way to the top of the dipstick. And it smelled funny. Yep, you know where the gas went, don't you? Filled the engine full of gas. So I tipped it up, pulled the plug out, drained all the gas out of the crankcase and what little oil was in there. Asked the father-in-law, you know, I've never had that happen before. He says, don't worry about getting every bit of it out. Drain out what'll come out, put your gas in. As the engine warms up, it'll vaporize what's left in there and it'll be sucked out through the vent for the crankcase. So I did that, no problem. Okay, now I went to pull the rope. The rope come out about 6 inches and locked up. Then I got to looking. I've got gas coming out of my exhaust. So I thought, okay, the cylinder's full of gas. Took the spark plug out. Took the wire off, pulled the spark plug out, and gas just poured out of the plug hole. So I started pulling the rope to blow all the gas out. Well, hey, I had the spark plug wire off the spark plug. But apparently it fell down and was touching the exhaust on the muffler. So I'm pulling this thing just as fast as I can to try to get all the gas out of the cylinders because I want to use it because it was totally flooded. Well, what happened next, it surprised me. When the spark plug wire was touching the exhaust, it made a spark. And guess what it did? Oh yeah, I had flames about 3.5 foot tall. This baby is burning really good. And now I'm thinking, okay, I just filled up this plastic gas tank with about 1.5 gallons to 2 gallons of gas. I said, this could be interesting. So I ran into the lean-to on the side of my shop where I have a wood furnace. I grabbed the fire extinguisher. I ran out there and put that baby out. Put the plug in, put the wire back on. I pulled it about 10 times because it was flooded. That baby started up and I used it the rest of the night to do the leaves. So you just never know what can happen. You always got to be on alert, I guess. But we got this thing, it's wired up right. I'm going to take the gas tank off my other one because I know it's clean inside. I'm going to stick it on here and hook this thing up. The next issue I had with putting this engine on here, if you remember, the muffler hit this post. I couldn't get the muffler on. So it came with a little exhaust pipe about this long. It had a flange on each end. One flange bolted to the block. The other flange bolted to the back of the muffler. I cut that pipe off. This is it. That's how long it was. I took the 2 flanges. And first I started out with a piece of wooden dowel. I cut the angles I wanted. And I held that up in here where it went. I held the muffler on. As you can see, the first shot was a little short, so I glued another piece on here, and that looked about with what I wanted. So I took a piece of just black pipe, cut it the same lengths and same angles as the dowel. I had my son-in-law weld it up for me, and now the muffler's mounted. So this engine is done. Once I get it running, I can check the polarity on this the stator inside the engine to make sure which one's hot, which one's ground, and I can hook it to the battery. So as the engine's running, it'll keep the battery charged. So might have this running tonight. I've got to push it out of the shop before I put the mower deck on, because it won't fit out the door with a mower deck. This is a bigger machine. When I put the deck on it, I'll show you how to tighten the belt. the belt is tightened through the tube on the front, sliding in and out. That's why you can't mount these things so they're solid. They have to be able to slide, and as you're driving through your yard, your front axle has to be able to pivot independently from your back axle. That's another reason you can't fix these things solid. So I'm going to go. I'll put the gas tank on, the seat on, get it started. We'll push her outside and we'll make another video on putting the mower deck on and getting the belt tightened. So I can't believe it, but this snapper build is about done. It's been a long time. If you have any questions, please send me an email. Put a note or a comment at the bottom of the video. I only wish all the emails I've got from all these people asking questions, giving me comments on my channel, how they appreciate it, and I've had people ask me if I work at Snapper, and no, I don't. I work in a tool and die shop. I run machines, and I'm a maintenance guy. That's why I like tearing stuff apart. I had Lynn. She's been emailing me. This is the last one, back and forth on questions on what to do with hers. It's got excessive wear on the bushings on the rear axle. I mean, they're wore completely through the bushing into the fenders. I'm working with her on trying to get that running. She's had it for over 20 years. She wants to keep it. More power to her. This is a world of throwaway stuff. I love it when somebody wants to actually fix something and keep it going. So don't forget to subscribe. My email is jimsfixitshop@gmail.com or jnrwoodworking2, the number 2, @gmail.com. I look forward to all these. I try to read all my emails every night, and I try to answer them every night. I've been working a lot outside late, and I don't want to call someone too late at night or email them, so I usually do it the next night. But if you have any questions, please shoot them over here. If you want to talk to me, send me your phone number. I'll call you. I have free long distance in the entire country. I call a lot of people. I'm in Michigan. I'm calling California, Wyoming. I've got a board over there with pins in it on all the states I've touched. I've got 4 or 5 spots in Florida, a couple up in Maine. I call these guys back and we talk them through their problems. Don't necessarily put your phone number on YouTube. Send me an email with your phone number and I'll call you back. I just like helping people out. That's what I'm here for. So if you have any questions, like I said, shoot them on over here. Don't forget to subscribe. We'll talk to you maybe tomorrow when I got this baby running. I guess work safe, have fun, and we'll talk to you soon.